Thank you, Chairman, for letting me join your subcommittee today. I want to thank you all for being here to discuss this very important rail safety issue of positive train control in South Florida, where I represent. South Florida, the Palm Beaches, the Treasure Coast. Nearly every single crossing that we have in our area is at grade, same level as the cars, as the walkers, as the bicyclers. We are very familiar with freight traffic, but we've also had commuter rail there, not at a high speed, known as the Tri-Rail, that's been running there for years. But as of this January, just recently, we also now have the Brightline rail line, which is running at 70 to 110 miles per hour throughout this stretch. In the Brightline's first week of operation alone, the first week, 3 people were struck. There have now, since then, since it began in January, there have been 4 fatalities since January, numerous non-fatal accidents, and there was just one more last night, which we are still gathering details on. So, Mr. Reyes, you are the Chief Counsel for the Federal Railroad Administration, whose mission is rail safety movement. Mr. Sumwalt, you are the Chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board. So I would like to know, are the NTSB and the FRA, are they aware of these incidents?
Thank you, Congressman. This is an issue that we are very concerned about at FRA, to make sure that people that are trespassing at grade crossings are aware.
So yes, you are aware of the incidents?
We are absolutely aware.
Mr. Sumwalt, you are aware of the incidents?
Yes, sir, we are.
Thank you very much. Does the Brightline currently implement PTC rail safety measures?
Yes, they are currently operating on PTC.
They are operating. And why?
Could I just check with my safety advisor, because I know it might be a different version of what we're talking about?
Please do so. We would love to know the exact fact.
Yeah, it's called the ATC system, and hang on a second. When are they going to have that all?
They still have to do some functionality.
Okay, so they have a system called ATC. They're doing some testing, and then it will be fully implemented as soon as the testing is finished. But it is currently on that system.
So is there currently an investigation as to why the ATC has not been effective in preventing?
Well, ATC or even full PTC would not be effective when people are crossing at grade crossings against the flashing lights and the gates being down, right? What PTC does do, it stops train-to-train collisions. It stops trains that are in overspeed situations, say they're going way too fast, 70 or 80 in a 30 zone. If there's a designated area where there's work crew, PTC would be programmed to slow down or stop before that area, and also if there's a misaligned switch. However, with grade crossings, PTC is not programmed or mandated to address that situation. That type of situation could be improved by improving grade crossing, maybe moving them further away, or technology. There's a new technology that we're researching at FRA that would issue an alert on cars or cell phones before they hit the grade crossing. But the main thing that is really most helpful anywhere is awareness, and to let people know the dangers of crossing against trespassing onto track. We have invested.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mr. Anderson, you stated in your comments.
If I could just jump in there. Current PTC.
Maybe in just a moment if I have more time.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Anderson, you said, quote, passenger rail must have a much higher standard. You're the chairman of Amtrak, the CEO of Amtrak. You know about passenger rail. Does what I just mentioned to you about those incidents all since January seem like a higher standard to you? And do you believe that there's more of an impetus for safety with each mile per hour that we are going faster, 161 feet per second, 110 miles per hour?
Actually, the data would show that the #1 issue we have
with rail safety across America is grade crossings. We have about 2,000 incidents a year in our country, and it is probably the single biggest issue in terms of safety of people. There are far more people that are hurt or injured or killed in grade crossings than anything else going on railroads. And I would note that, you know, the FRA administers a program every year for states, and we're investing about $230 million a year in grade crossing grant programs through the FRA to states and local municipalities to rectify grade crossing to prevent these terrible accidents.
Thank you, Mr. Enstrom. Mr.
Thank
Mast,
you.
your time's expired.